Stop. This place should not exist. It feels primordial. Here, the earth convulses with quiet violence. Ground radiates heat, dry, relentless, unyielding. Mountain chains surge upward, born from collisions older than memory itself. Deserts unravel into vast, scarred expanses, carved by winds that never rest. Iran is not shaped by history. It is forged by pressure, fracture, fire, and time. Long before empires rose, tectonic force lifted, broke, and scorched this land. Beneath every city, a harsher truth endures. Survival here is not assumed. It is learned through stone, heat, and altitude. This is not a crossroads of civilizations. It is a living theater of the planet. This is Iran. At the foot of Sahand, Kandovan rises like a petrified swarm. Cone-shaped towers of volcanic stone, each one hollowed into shelter, each one still alive. The geology, a village carved straight into the frozen violence of an ancient eruption. Kandavan's power begins in catastrophe. The rock here was born from Sahan's pyroclastic flows, layers of ash, pumice, and volcanic fragments compressed into soft ignimbrite, more than 100 meters thick in places. Time did the first cutting. Water erosion opened grooves and narrow passages, isolating the mass into steep, tapering cones. Human hands completed the assault, excavating chambers deep into the stone and turning erosion itself into architecture. These dwellings, known locally as Karahan, are not decorative curiosities. They are engineered voids inside porous rock, spaces shaped by necessity, insulation, and topography. Many units rise across multiple levels, with stairways, storage cavities, and living rooms pressed into the interior of the cone. Entrances often face south to catch warmth and light, while the surrounding stone tempers extremes, holding coolness in summer and shelter in winter. But what makes Kandovan extraordinary lies not only in its geology, How humans stepped into that cold heart of stone and transformed it into a home. Legend has it that 7 centuries ago, to escape the brutal advance of Mongol invaders, the first settlers fled to this valley. They realized the only way to survive was not to confront, but to vanish into nature. A unique feature of this volcanic material is its temperature regulation, incredibly warm in winter, yet naturally cool like air conditioning in summer. Though tourism has grown, the soul of the village still lies with the diligent elders and the deep Middle Eastern hospitality. The people of Kandovan may not be wealthy in a material sense, but they possess a luxury we have lost, an absolute connection to their roots and where they belong. Kandovan is what happens when eruption, erosion, and human endurance lock into a single form. It is neither cave nor village alone, but a monolithic act of adaptation. Masule clings to the green mountains of northern Iran like a village suspended between earth and cloud. Its ochre houses climb the slope in impossible layers, where one roof becomes another path, and the mountain dictates every wall, stair, terrace, and fragile line of human survival carved into mist and stone. Masule is not a village placed on a mountain. Here, the roof of one house becomes the courtyard of another, and the mountain itself dictates every line, every threshold, every precarious step carved into stone. It is a settlement absorbed by gradient, rain, fog, and rock. Built high in the Alborz range of Gilan, it rises in steep terraces where architecture replaces streets with roofs, stairways, and narrow ledges. Every house is locked into the slope with severe precision. The roof of one home becomes the courtyard of the next, creating a vertical anatomy of movement where life unfolds upward instead of outward. Its yellow clay facades are not merely beautiful. They are practical, stark, and unmistakable against the dense mountain mist. Walls, balconies, wooden frames, and stone foundations are arranged to resist moisture, weight, and relentless terrain. Nothing here feels ornamental. Everything answers the mountain's pressure. Nature in Masule is not just scenery, it is a part of its breath. No engines, no industrial rush. Masule only has footsteps, the rhythmic clip-clop of donkey bells, and the whisper of the mountain wind. There is a story of the women here, spending their days weaving colorful handicrafts, not just to sell, but to keep the village vibrant amidst the mist. The people of Masule have a wondrous love for flowers. Vibrant geraniums are always placed on windowsills, like a warm greeting to any traveler passing over their rooftop. The locals treat the mist like an old friend. This is a tiered world, half real and half dream, where every turn seems to hide another spectacle behind the mist. Palangan pours down the mountains of Iranian Kurdistan like a village sculpted by gravity itself. Stone houses descend the valley in dense, uneven tiers, so tightly bound to the slope that the settlement feels less built than fused into the rock. Below, the river cuts through shadow, feeding a landscape both severe and startlingly alive. Palangan exists by the logic of the mountain. Set within a narrow valley of cliffs, springs, and running water, the village rises in stacked terraces of stone, timber, and packed earth. One roof becomes the walkway for the house above it. Stairways, ledges, and walls do not resist the terrain. They submit to it. Everything is shaped by incline, pressure, and the need to hold life in a place where flat ground is almost absent. The architecture feels raw, ancient, and exact, as if the mountain itself had been carved into habitation. Nature gives Palangan its other force. Water moves constantly through this hard landscape, slipping through channels, feeding orchards, dropping over rock, and softening the harshness of the valley without erasing it. Green slopes rise beyond the stone. The air feels colder, sharper, more elemental. In spring, the village seems suspended between cliff and garden, between fortress and refuge. Nature in Palangan is not a backdrop. It is the pulse inside the settlement. The people of Palangan complete that pulse. Kurdish life here carries the weight of inheritance. Communal rhythms, mountain paths, livestock, gatherings, and traditions shaped by altitude and endurance. There is also an older story embedded in the place, with memories of fortification and settlement stretching deep into the past. That history still clings to the valley like mist on stone. Palangan does not feel temporary. It feels carried forward by generations who learn to live with rock, water, and hardship as permanent companions. Abiana burns quietly into the mountains of central Iran, a red village clinging to the slope beneath the barren heights of the Caucasus Range. Its houses, built from iron-rich clay, glow with a deep, rust-colored intensity, as if the earth itself had been lifted, carved, and stacked into a human settlement. Abiane is a village shaped by altitude, isolation, and material honesty. Set high above the surrounding plain, it rises in compact tiers where mud brick walls, wooden lattice windows, and narrow alleys follow the hard geometry of the mountain. The red clay is its defining visual force, drawn from the soil itself and pressed into architecture that feels both fragile and enduring. Against the pale mountain light, the entire settlement appears almost incandescent, a cluster of raw mineral forms resisting wind, dryness, and time. Yet the real power of Abiane lies beyond structure. What makes Abiane truly distinct is not its architecture, but the people still living within that layer of memory. Elderly women wrap themselves in bright, floral headscarves. These vibrant patterns stand out against the deep red walls like small flickers of fire. The village men maintain their traditional dress, simple and weathered in a way that feels entirely natural. Everything is exactly as it should be. Then come the smaller details. On the old wooden doors, two knockers produced two different sounds, one for men, one for women. By the sound alone, those inside know who is standing at the door. A simple convention, yet enough to show that this place still operates through habits passed down across many generations. Abbayane does not feel preserved. It feels inhabited by continuity. Abbayane does not simply endure. It lives through its people. Their faces, clothing, gestures, and rhythms transform this red mountain village into something far more powerful than an ancient settlement. They make it feel tender, luminous, and unforgettable, a place where beauty is not only built, but carried, worn, and quietly protected across time. Coming to eastern Iran, within South Khorasan province, near the Afghan border, Mahunik lies nestled amidst a dry, remote land, fractured by rocky hills. Its low mud houses sink into the earth, their doorways unnaturally small, their proportions unsettling, as if the village was shaped for a different kind of human existence, carved out of isolation and survival. Mahunik is defined by scarcity. Located in South Khorasan near the Afghan border, this village exists within one of the harshest dry landscapes in Iran, where water is limited, vegetation is minimal, and survival depends on precision rather than abundance. The architecture reflects this constraint with brutal honesty. Houses are built low, compact, and inward, using sun-dried mud brick that blends almost seamlessly with the surrounding soil. Walls are thick, openings are narrow, and interiors are deliberately reduced in scale to conserve heat, resist wind, and minimize exposure. The small doorways and low ceilings are not accidental. They are responses to environment, material, and a history of isolation that shaped both body and structure. For generations, the inhabitants of Mahunik were known for their shorter stature, a result often linked to limited diet and harsh living conditions. The village adapted around this reality, producing spaces that feel compressed, enclosed, and intensely human. Movement here is slowed, lowered, forced into the rhythm of the structure itself. Life in Makunik once followed strict patterns shaped by necessity and belief. There are stories of a community that lived with extreme simplicity, avoiding excess, resisting outside influence, and sustaining a closed cultural rhythm deep within the desert. Even everyday acts were measured, controlled, and tied to survival in a place where nothing could be wasted. Today, the curse of height has gradually vanished, thanks to new roads and better nutrition reaching the village. The younger generation in Makunik grows as tall as people anywhere else in the world, yet those tiny houses remain, standing as a museum of human resilience. Across Iran, these villages endure like living fragments of another world. Each village carries its own form, its own rhythm, its own silence. Carved into rock, suspended on steep slopes, gathered beside running water, preserved in red clay, or hidden on the edge of the desert, they reveal a landscape where architecture was never separate from survival. These are not ruins of the past. They are inhabited worlds, still marked by weather, by altitude, by isolation, and by the steady persistence of human life. Together, they form a different portrait of Iran, not defined by monuments or cities, but by remote settlements shaped by endurance, ingenuity, and place. And as the road moves on, these extraordinary villages remain where they have always been, weathered, watchful, and unforgettable. Don't forget to like and subscribe if this journey touched you.